Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Amit Gupta from photojojo.com, a website slash newsletter slash blog that has all sorts of wonderful photography tips for both experts and novices alike, sent me an email a few weeks ago asking if I would like to take a look at this new product called iFi, and I said, sure. I didn't even really know what it was necessarily, but it sounded geeky, and indeed it is. iFi is an SD card that has 2 gigabytes worth of storage, but it's also Wi-Fi enabled. Yeah, so that means any device that can take pictures on an SD card, those pictures can then be transferred immediately to the iFi service for free. You know, of course, that's once you've purchased the iFi card, and I think the retail is somewhere around $100. And then from there, it could get sneezed out to any one of your favorite websites of storing photos, like Google's Picasa or Picasa Web Albums, as they call it, Flickr, you name it. The service is pretty much on there. And it was quite interesting, I thought. And certainly, like I said, I was more than happy to take a look. And to show you how easy it is, here's the card. Again, I'm going to stick it in my camera. Give me a word right here to write down, or 2 words to write down on this notepad, and I'll take the picture, and we'll see how quick it uploads to not just the iFi service, but specifically where I told it to point to my Flickr account. Potatoes. Potatoes. Is that the... Alright, and sand dabs. Potatoes and sand dabs. Okay, so I've written them in purple. This is completely not staged. We'll turn on the camera, macro it, get focus, take the picture. Okay, so now I've taken that picture. We'll be watching the Flickr account to see how quickly it takes to transmit that photo that I just took, stored it on the SD card as it normally would with this particular Canon PowerShot digital camera, and it is right now transferring to the internet using my wireless access point in the house. And it's kind of cool. I gotta admit, at the core, it's a very nice product. It's got a lot of promise. Is it worth the money? Well, it depends on how much photos you take. And how you take photos, and I'll get into that in a second, because I've got about 10 reasons why I'm kind of minorly frustrated with the iFi product, and I think they can improve upon many of these shortcomings in a short amount of time. But anyway, let's see if if it's actually transferred now. Has it gone up? By the way, you can get to my Flickr account if you go into the chat room and type in "what is frame." It will respond with what you can do if you want to upload photos to my digital picture frame. Ooh, there's a picture of Ponzi as Cleopatra. She was looking good. She's always looking good, but I'm saying she was looking especially Egyptian good that night, if you know what I mean. So let's hit refresh again. Could be taking a while. That's one of the things about the iFi card, is that in order for it to transfer, it has to have power. In order to have power, the camera has to be on. So that's kind of a... Well, it's a small issue, I would say, depending on how much battery capacity your digital camera happens to have. Now, if you use a digital camera that stores photos on a memory stick, they don't currently, that I know of, have a memory stick iFi card. But I got to give them props for very creative packaging. It's just kind of fun to open. I don't know if you're able to see how fun it is to open here. You open one end and the other end opens. It's just kind of fun. So I'll give them a lot of a plus for the fun packaging. It's not very often that you find packaging all that much fun. So now it's of course making a liar out of me, because sometimes it transfers quicker and sometimes it's not transferring fast at all. Of course, Flickr may be moving slow as well. So what you do is, when you take it out of the package, it comes with this little USB connector. Stick it into your computer, either Mac or Windows, it will prompt you to install the software. Yes, software will run on OS 10 or Windows. And then from there, you have, well, I've got it installed in particular on my MacBook Pro. You can open your iFi manager from there, and that's nothing more than a web interface at manager.eye.fi. And then you log in, you configure it, and that's the thing, is the only way it will transfer data from the SD card to the internet is if you have a predefined setting for that wireless access point. And what that means is I couldn't take this on the road with me, take pictures and then upload it to a free access point if I hadn't already set up that access point through my iFi manager. And that kind of takes a lot of the fun out of it. But of course, I'd be uploading, when I did connect to a wireless access point that I gave explicit permission to connect to, I would be able to transmit the images on this camera, specifically on that SD card, the iFi card, wirelessly. So it does go a little way to cutting cord and cable clutter. But as I'm still waiting for it to apparently upload, here's some 10 issues that I found, including that one that I just listed. One, it doesn't support Safari on OS 10, and I really don't know why. Number two, you can't log into the management website without a utility running, which I'm not exactly sure why that is. I don't know if the wireless card, the iFi card, has to connect to the software and then from the software to the web, but that doesn't make much sense to me since the SD card itself has a MAC address, because of course it's a device that connects to the internet. So it doesn't make much sense to me why there has to be management software running in order to be able to access my account online. The manager link isn't found on the regular old i.fi website. So when I went to a friend's house the other night to show him, I brought along the card, and the installer I think is on the card, but it wouldn't actually let me get in through the iFi site. I had to remember the specific address for the management console in order to get in to configure that access point. So that I thought was a small shortcoming. Number four, you can't upload to multiple services, and that. Now, I realize that most people would have, just one photo service, and they would choose that over all the others, and that's, I suppose, fine. But when I upload my photos, I'd rather upload them to Flickr and Picasa web albums. That's just me. The fifth one, it looks like Datalore's back on. The fifth one, you can't choose what to upload. It uploads every single photo that you take. Of course, this is like I said, it's turning into the exception. The photo is definitely on the card, but let's say what I usually do, if I'm taking pictures in low light, I essentially set it to continuous mode and then have 15 photos that I might take, and only one of those is the one that I want to keep. Well, there's no way of telling the card, don't send this one, just send this one. It sends them all. So when you take the picture, it's gone. Or just assume that the next time you connect wirelessly to the internet, it's gone. And that's, for my style of taking photos, doesn't quite work for me, and I don't know if there's necessarily a way around that, since again the software on the card and the firmware on the card, the whole card is a unit unto itself. It doesn't interact with the software on the camera at all. So I don't know how that they could adjust for that, but maybe if they made the management site kind of a staging grounds before it gets published out beyond that website to places like Flickr and whatnot. So I think there's a lot of problems just in that, because I like I said, sometimes I'll take a series of 15 and only keep one, if any at all, and it would upload every one of them. 6, you can't add or remove default tags. By default, if I upload a photo, again using the iFi card, it will tag it. Here's one I took earlier of the chat room. It'll tag it iFi, which is great for it, but I can't go in and say, on this day, tag photos this, or automatically tag my photos with my last name and whatnot, And in related to that, I also can't choose a default name for the photos. So this photo got transferred as img_1951.jpg. I mean, I would much rather be able to tell the management software, automatically rename my photos, Pirillo something, so that it's not a generic just file name. But there's currently no way of doing that with the software. You can't rename the photos before they're passed along, which I guess is kind of piggybacks that last point. Number 8, account information isn't retained across browser sessions, which is kind of frustrating. I can't even autocomplete a form in Firefox or Internet Explorer for that matter. It's kind of it just forgets the settings every 10 minutes, which I suppose is for security if you're accessing someone else's access point to transfer your photos, but that doesn't make much sense to me because it's not easy to do. I think the edge case is that when you're at home taking photos, the photos will automatically be transferred to the web, and at which point you ask, well, why don't I just take the photos on the cell phone or mobile device and have them transferred that way? Well, you're getting potentially full resolution from a full-on digital camera with an iFi connection. Just no cords, no muss, no fuss. And then number 10, you pretty much have to keep your camera on in order for the photos to actually transfer from point A to point B. So unless I accidentally change something, and let me go in here, I'm going to open the iFi Manager on my Mac, and of course it's going to tell me, since my default browser on the Mac is Safari, it's going to tell me, no, it's not going to work. It gives me a prompt to download Firefox, but that's not what I want to do. By the way, it's at manager.i.fi. I didn't mention that earlier. And I gotta log in again, and it's no autocomplete, which is just kind of frustrating. So there's a lot of snags if you can get past the unique nature of it. Boy, it didn't even receive it. I wonder why. It hasn't even received it. That's really odd. It received it earlier, but now it's not working. Okay, well, it was doing okay before. The manager's definitely on. The upload history seems to be okay. Settings, good. Wireless network, yeah, good. Upload to Flickr, yeah. It also stores locally to the manager that's connected, so it's stored, if it would have captured it, it would have stored it also in an iFi directory inside of my pictures or folder, wherever I happen to designate it for local storage, not just web storage. So unfortunately, I don't think that's going to work, but it does, like I said, at its core, I think it's pretty unique. Is it worth the money? If they address at least half of these issues, I think it will be. But unless you only take one picture of things and then move on, the iFi card as it stands is not going to be very useful. For people that take multiple photos of the same subject and then from there take the best one of that series, there's currently no management tool. It's just going to upload everything, if it does upload everything. It's kind of like taking a car into a mechanic. Well, but it wasn't working earlier. Well, in this case, it was working earlier. So I give it a tentative thumbs up. It's certainly unique and long overdue. I love the fact that they have iFi. I love it. This is a wireless SD card with 2 gigabytes worth of storage. It's just regular SD, not SDHC or anything. You can't transfer movies, and that would be absolutely insane. So I'll be interested in seeing what else the company is working on. I'm sure there's some edge cases here, and I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that might be interested in taking a look at it or owning one. I'll certainly be keeping a hold of it, I'd imagine, because you never know when you're going to need it. And hopefully they'll have addressed a few of those issues rolling forward. So if you guys know of a cool little gadget or gizmo that we should be putting on our list or you'd like me to take a look at, assuming that I can get a hold of one without breaking the bank, you can email me, chris@pirillo.com. Or what do you think of this? I mean, what do you think of the concept behind iFi? Or is this something that you'd want to put on your holiday list because you just never know when you're going to need it? Or, hey, it's bragging rights. I mean, how many people on your block do you think have one of these, or if they saw it, would want to run out and get one. Just curious. You can also swing by our chat room anytime, day or night, to talk about your favorite gadgets, latest acquisition, or maybe you've got a product recommendation, or you're helping someone else through some product selection. We could always use your help. It's not that hard to do, and it's absolutely free to talk with us. We're typically there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at one website and one website alone. And before I head out, I want to hit refresh one more time in the hopes that it's there, and it's not. That's live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.